going through, so
Okay.
should be straight.
I see the 2 microphones. I see you upgrading. Because before I've seen one where I think there was like one microphone. I think with Forever Foreign. I think there was
Oh,
one. Yeah.
so funny how that came about because I originally always had two
Oh,
microphones.
okay.
I had put this one up in like my studio space and put it on a shelf, and it fell off
Oh,
the
okay.
shelf. So the bottom of it, like where this port goes, it was like mushed in. So I brought it to the interview, but
Okay.
didn't look at it
I
prior,
see.
and I couldn't put it in there. So I had to come home and get like a little plier,
Okay.
no pliers to take it out. But I was like, damn. It was like we can make it work.
Yeah, because I noticed that. I mean, it worked. It definitely worked, but I just noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, you had to make do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we are here with a Fashionable Frequency interview. We are here with Queen Nakaia.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Good job for saying it right. 'Cause some people say Nakaia and it drives me insane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's like one of your pet peeves?
Yeah, I don't want to be called Nakaia because it's such. So it's kind of like a average name. I feel like, but like, I like Nakaia. So when people be like, "Oh, Nakia," I'm like, "No, there's an extra A." Yeah.
I feel that because like my name is
Yeah.
Jakari and my nickname is Kari, so like seeing it written down, a lot of people
Carrie.
say Carrie, right? And honestly, that is probably one of my like top pet peeves is like when people mispronounce my name or like it's not an issue if you just don't know.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's just something that people do every single time, and it's like, dang, you didn't read it, did you? But yeah.
You can't have no problem correcting them either.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. That's why it's there. I'll let you know.
So it's been like a thing like your whole lifetime.
Kinda. So my name is Queen, and my mom named me Queen Nakaia as my first name, but legally it's Queen, and then my middle name's Nakaia because the hospital just made Nakaia the middle name, even though it's supposed to be the first name too. So I don't really use Nakaia a lot day to day. Like most people don't know it's Nakaia except for people who know me through like social media because I think it's a cool name. So I wanted to put it, like in my name. So now I get it more because as a kid, no one knew my name was Nakaia. So yeah, it was just Queen. Yeah.
So in grade school, everybody taking roll, it was just Queen.
It was just Queen. Yeah.
Okay,
So
awesome.
that's how it was.
We're learning stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't think even in the intro we mentioned that you crochet and you're just like a designer overall. Could we like get into that a little bit of a glimpse?
Yeah, so I am a crochet artist. I crochet this is like a new thing I'm trying to do where I'm trying to crochet more in the style of like showing more face because my previous style was more like ruffles around your face and I didn't really like the way that looked on me personally. I'm one of those fashion artists that I make a lot of pieces out of passion, but I don't actually want to wear it. So I have a very basic style, as you can see. I like to put on blue jeans, some cowgirl boots, and like a tank top, and then that's it. Like that's my vibes. But I like to create things that are like more stand out because that's the artist in me. But I don't actually like to wear my crochet pieces. I have a lot of crochet pieces. They're just in the closet, never even been worn before. So I'm trying to get to a point where I do more of putting it on people because I don't want to wear it. I don't want to do it, but I am a crochet artist. I've always been into fashion since I was like 11 years old. I wanted to go to fashion school because I lived in LA and there was one right next to me, and I kind of got turned off because it was kind of like bougie, like in the past fashion has always been a kind of stuck up industry, like you know how it was.
No,
like,
absolutely. Like fashion models were like a size
exactly.
0.
It's a very interesting. It was an interesting crowd, and I feel like now with people finally getting a step in, and social media has a lot to help with that, like showing different forms of fashion and how you can get into it. As a child, I always thought fashion was just like knowing how to sew, like oh you got to know how to sew to be into fashion, but I had a hard time learning the fashion. Learning the sewing machine, and I still do. So I kind of got into making jewelry. I actually made one of these necklaces. I made both of them, I'm lying, but this design is the coolest one. But I started getting into making jewelry because I knew I could handle that. And then once I got into jewelry and made a few pieces, I got into shoe customization where I would thrift like Air Forces from the Play-Doh's closet for $20 and just like customize on them. And it was really cool, and I was like really feeling myself. I'm like, ooh, fashion girly. So then from there, I remember like it was like a few years ago, there was like the tie-dye boom where everyone was just tie-dyeing everything. And most of my, you know, kind of fashion like trends stem from social media, like what's happening at the time. That's just what happens, you know, when you're on social media. So it started with the jewelry wave, and then it started with the shoe customization, and then tie-dyeing. And once I got into tie-dyeing, I kind of felt like I wanted to do more with clothes. So then that's where I saw a lot of content on crocheting. Like everyone was crocheting that Harry Styles cardigan. Like it was like a huge thing. This was Harry Styles cardigan. Everyone wanted it. And I'm like, I can do that. Everyone's teaching themselves how to crochet on YouTube. That's how I learned. I learned on YouTube, and I got on there and looked at tutorials, got some supplies from Walmart, and then I did my thing. And it wasn't an instant thing. People think I learned crocheting and I was like, boom. It took me a minute, but I was determined. I feel like with a lot of hobbies and passions, anyone can do it, but it's like, do they have the passion to keep going and like just keep going, you know? Because we can do a lot of things. Like I can do things that I'm like, oh, that's too hard, but like it's just the passion that's stopping me from doing it, you know? Right. I don't really want to do it at the end of the day. So that's why I'm not pursuing this particular like hobby or career. So with crocheting, I was determined I was going to learn. So every day I would get in there, and then that's how I kind of picked up on crocheting. And now I'm actually getting into machine knitting and hand sewing because wow.
I love the journey because everyone's is different, and you love fashion, and the stepping stones for you were not like the template where you start on the sewing machine. You started with jewelry and then worked your way up into crocheting, which is like really interesting. So how long have you been crocheting?
This question, every time I get confused because what happened was when I learned crocheting, I did stop for like almost a year. So I learned crocheting probably when I was like 20. I'm 23 now. So that's when I first picked up a needle and started like crocheting. And then, like I said, I stopped for a year because I just got really busy and it wasn't a priority in my life where I felt like I needed to crochet. I made like a tube top, a beanie, and like a cardigan, and then I just stopped. And then I got back into it when I was like 21, and then I took another break for a few months. I kept taking breaks and going back for some reason. I don't know why.
Life was just life.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me. I just wasn't interested no more. And then it was 2023 that really got me into it. So I had took a trip to Las Vegas, and as a crochet person or a knitter even, they're always going to be doing that. Like if they're sitting at the airport, they're crocheting or they're knitting or something. So we were going to Vegas on my birthday in January 2023, and I was in the airport with some chunky ass like green yarn, and I just started like crocheting, and I was like, let me make like a curly hat. I had never made a curly hat before, with the ruffles. And I was doing that in the airport, and everyone was like, wow, like look at her, you know. I never really went in public and crochet before too, so like that was my first like real crochet moment. So during the trip I was actually able to finish the hat while we were on the vacation, like in the hotel, like between like downtime in the vacation I was crocheting the hat. So I finally finished it for the last day, and I wore it, and everyone lost their mind. Like I was walking down the street and everyone was just like, yo, your hat. Like I've never worn anything where people were just like stopping me in the middle of the street like, what's going on, like this hat's cool. So I felt like so accomplished, and I was like, dang. So I think 2023 was the first year where I consistently crocheted at least every month, and I feel like ever since then I just haven't stopped, and it's just been smooth sailing. And shortly after that, I moved to Atlanta a few months after that day. I don't know why I said that day, like, but I moved.
It was the start of something.
Yeah, I moved to Atlanta that year, 2023, in May. And like I said, it's been 1 year since I've been in Atlanta. So I'm excited about that because I feel like so much has happened to me. Like I was a completely different person before I moved here. I was just like this weird, shy kid. Still am weird and shy, but coming out here, I have been like there's so many people out here are like artists, and like we want to like connect. So before, I've lived in states where it wasn't really a thing that much. Like you had to really look for these kind of situations and like artists. So coming out here, it was like I immediately like attracted myself to like these people and attracted them to me. So I was able to put myself in like, you know, good situations. You know, I met a lot of artists. You, like my best friend, that's how I met you, because he was performing, and it's just like everything is now like, it just makes sense, you know.
Putting that energy
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had moved out here, and then a few months in, well, not a few months in, my first month, my first week, I went to a place called The Circle. It's a poetry event. I always talk about it because like I went there my very first week in Atlanta by myself. I had never went anywhere by myself before. Like I always go somewhere with my mom and that's just what I do. So I went out there, and this lady saw me wearing one of my hats, and she was like, oh my God, like you have to buy it sell it to me, not buy it. Wow. She was like, you have to sell it to me. And I was like, I don't sell. But then like the whole night she kept like asking to try it on, and then I eventually sold it to her. And not that exact hat, but I made another one for her. And from that moment on, I just kept like getting, you know, customers, and you know, word of mouth was happening. And the guy who hosted the poetry event had invited me to be a vendor for the poetry event. And that was like my first time like selling to that, like, you know, kind of situation. Like I had never vendored before, and going to his event gave me my first customers. So it was a good experience. That was like the catapult into everything. And then I kind of took a break from selling until I met someone. I would say in July, August, I met them, and they wore my hats every day. Like they really liked my hats, so they wore them every day. And he was like my walking promoter. Like I got so many customers for that man because he was wearing my hats. And then yeah, like, I was surprised. I'm like, wow, it's so nice. So yeah, he wore them, and then every day he would get like people asking where the hat came from, and I was getting customers. And then that's how actually, I don't know if you know the rapper DRAM. Okay, so he saw him wearing the hat, which is a funny story because DRAM thought the dude was Thundercat.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he look like Thundercat?
He don't look like Thundercat. He just has blonde locks.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he saw him at like an event, and DRAM went up to him and he was like, yo, Thundercat, like where'd you get that hat? And then he like turned around, the guy I knew, and he's all like, oh my God, you're DRAM. And then the DRAM realized, oh, that's not Thundercat, you know?
Right.
So he ended up getting the information for the hat still. And that's how they contacted me. And he was my customer for like a few months. Well, not a few months. Like he had bought like 2 batches of orders for me, like multiple hats.
Oh, that's super dope.
Yeah. And then it was really nice. I didn't even know who he was. That's another thing.
While you were making the order, you're like, I don't know who the
I had no idea.
is, but, you know,
yeah,
I'm making
that's how it happened because his girlfriend was hitting me up. She didn't tell me who the man, like who. She just was like, "Oh, I want these hats for my boyfriend." I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, literally. That's what
So
it
is
was.
everything made to order?
For the most part, yes. Everything. Yeah, I don't usually make a hat and then sell it. Yeah, actually, you're right. Everything's made to order. I don't like. Usually, I don't make things and then sell them, but now I'm gonna do that because I have a lot of crochet pieces that gotta go. Like I'm not gonna wear them. Somebody might want to wear it. So
yeah, you just got this stash. This
exactly. Yeah.
Stuff that's just been cooking up in your closet.
Exactly. Like I made this really cool orange blossom, like from Strawberry Shortcake. There's this character that has like this really cool hat. I made that hat and I just never even wore it, and it's like the coolest hat I made. So I'm hopefully I can sell those.
Has anyone seen this hat?
No, it's not on my socials. It's nowhere. Yeah, I need to do that. Because I keep saying, oh, I'm going to do like a modeling thing where like people can wear my hats. And then I don't know why I get nervous and don't do it. Because I had people offering like, hey, I'll do it. And I'm like, awesome. And then we just, I had a busy start off to this year, honestly. A lot of people think I'm like flaky. But I had some issues, man.
Let the people know.
Literally, like, so from like, I would say from like November to like now, I've been like extremely busy between mostly personal life. Like I got laid off from my tech job, and then my car stopped working. I was out of commission for like 2 months. So everything was just like not good. And everyone's like, yo, we should link up and do this. Like, we should work together. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'll be like, wait until this. And then again with the DRAM situation, what happened with DRAM was in January, he proposed that we work together. And then I was down for that. So by the time it was February, we released our promo video for that. And then in March, I started working on the order. So I was working every single day, whether it was my white man job, as I call it, or my crochet job. I was working every single day. And I had a lot of orders to fulfill. Like, I don't crochet like that. I usually take my time. But because we had like a kind of a set like deadline and how much I had to make a week, I was working so much that I had no time to do anything. And people would be like, oh, like, you can't even like spare a day. I'm like, no, bro. I can't.
Got too much work.
Literally.
So what has that experience taught you?
Honestly, that's good that you asked that, because I learned that I need to take a break. So what happened was, it's been like, I had stopped crocheting for like a total of like, after I finished the orders, like, I want to say 4 weeks ago. So 4 or 3 weeks ago. It's pretty recent. And I took a break from crocheting. I'm like, I'm not picking up a needle until who knows when, because I got burnt out. Like, crocheting that much within that small amount of time, I got burnt out a lot. And I learned that I won't do a large collaboration like that in an unorganized way. And I know he's probably not gonna like this, but like, it was just it was very a lot of miscommunications, and I just wasn't aware of to the like grandeur that it would be, like how much work I would actually be doing. When I agreed to it, I was unemployed at the time, so I thought it was gonna be easy. But like, I was working a full-time job, and then I had to fulfill the orders. So I definitely will not take a deal that big like that again without, having pre-orders set in place, or like a situation where I already have this amount and then that's it. I thought I was gonna make the hats. Well, it would be more beneficial if I made the hats and then sewed them, but I was making them to order. So it was just a lot. Yeah, exactly. It just came in all at once, and it was just like, do. So we had to actually like stop them because I was like, listen, I can't do it. Yeah. So that happened, and everything's good now. I'm happy to be no longer working on that. I was also moving. I just moved again, so I was moving and doing those at the same time and working full time. So I stopped moving, obviously, because I just moved to another place in May. So everything's I'm free now to do things, but before I just had a lot going on with like work and personal stuff. So I'm excited to start crocheting again because before I was crocheting for other people, but I feel like when I crochet for myself, even if it's not for me to wear, like the work is just a lot more pleasant because that's why you're doing it, And I'm sure you can relate. Like, if you're like mass producing for people that you don't know, like that'll stress you out. Yeah. Like, gosh.
And it's a one woman team.
Yeah, exactly. So, I learned that lesson of understanding my just what I can do. Like, just be realistic. Like, you're only one woman, okay? So, I definitely want to make more pieces in the mind of other people wearing them too, because I have this habit where I'll make something that I know only I will like, or I know that I will like, but still won't wear it. So it's like, what are you doing it for, So,
well, I mean, at that point, you're just expressing your art, right?
You're right, but no one's wearing it. Like, I don't know. I feel like somebody gotta wear this. Somebody gotta wear it. I don't know. Like, if it's a friend, somebody, here, take the hat. Thank you.
Just like have a photo shoot and just have like a collection of different pieces that help you express it, so you get it out there.
You're right. I need to do that, and that's more when it comes to like, I'm free now, so now I feel like I have that availability to go to my like photographer friends and be like, hey, like, can we do this shoot together? Like, I have a hat for you, and then like we can do these shoots as well. Because I really am a fan of like, what is it, like, what is the word, trade, but like artist trade, where like people, like, so I just saw this video about like how someone was a tattoo artist, and they had traded a tattoo for like a crochet artist to make them a crochet cardigan. I'm like, that's so cool. Like, I like that. So that's kind of like the environment I have right now, where I have a lot of artist friends, and like if you do this, I can do this for you. Like, not in a money way, you know what I mean? And I like that, so.
That exchanging talents.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty dope. Now, going back into the vault of all these crochet items that you made, how does it feel to know that they're just sitting in the closet? Does it make you feel kind of in angst or anything like that? Or is it just like, we'll get back to it when the time is right?
Yeah, kind of, because I feel like there's a lot of people who want to wear them, and I kind of like kept them from them. Like, I was like, no, but now I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. So, like, for me, like, when I had those hats that my friend was wearing, who's like basically a walking promoter, he asked for one, and honestly, I was surprised at the time that I agreed to give him one, because I was pretty protective of my crocheting, because I feel like I put in a lot of hours and I didn't want to give out like work for free. But now I feel like to an extent that's okay, like, because for the person I am, I'm not really gonna be wearing them like that, but if someone's gonna like wear my work that I put into like hours into, then like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I don't know, like, I don't really see crocheting as a profit anymore, because is crocheting honestly is not really a profitable kind of thing. Like, if you're working by yourself, that's a lot of time and money. Like, if you're sewing or doing other forms of like fashion, they're definitely more profitable than like crocheting, because crocheting is the only like fiber craft where it has to be handmade, and that takes a lot of time. And unless you're like, you have that quality to hike the price up, that's great, but I still don't feel like it's a sustainable like one business type of thing. So I had to understand, like, okay, this is not like a career path, this is more like a passion. So I had to let go of that, like trying to do it for money and like to make up for like income. Like, it can be something that you can gain some income from, but not your main income, right? Because it just is not gonna work.
Right. So how long did it take you to make the hat that you're wearing today?
So this one right here, this is a difficult one because you can't see the stitches. When you're crocheting, you see stitches, and the same thing with knitting. They're like the little things you see. I can't explain it, but these ones, because it's fuzzy, as you can see, you don't see any stitches, and it was really hard to do this hat. I don't know how many hours. I would say I don't usually go by hours too much if it takes more than an hour or two, just because I don't feel like counting. Because I don't crochet in one sitting. I will like crochet and then I'll just do something else and then get back to it. So I would say it took me about 2 days to do it. Just doing random stuff and then going back to it.
Assuming like an 8-hour work day.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I don't like sitting down in one sitting and crocheting. That would drive me insane. Like, I don't care how small the project is. I mean, it can be small, but like, if it's something that requires just more time than an hour or two, I'm not gonna sit down for the full time to do it, because I don't know, I just don't like sitting in one spot for too long and doing the same thing. And I don't know why, but I just don't like. I can switch to a different project maybe, but for the same project, unless I'm really into it, I don't usually like to sit and like finish a project. Like, I want to go to like a store or something. I don't know. That sounded
just take your mind off it for a second. So in those moments, or just like when you're thinking about designing a new hat or a new piece, like, what inspires you?
It's funny that you asked that, because I was thinking about how artist minds, we really think differently. Everyone is an artist in their own way, but certain artists, like in certain mediums, anything can set us off. Like the other day I went to Walmart and they had these cacti in the front, and I saw the cacti. I'm like, that could be a cool hat because it was like green and fuzzy like this, and then they had the flower, and I'm like, so anything can set me off. I can literally like see a bowl of Fruit Loops and get a hat idea or fashion idea. So I feel like it's a lot of just how people think, and how you can like manipulate it into like your own perspective to make it your art. So that's just how it goes for me. Yeah.
So what about the hat today?
So this hat, I had a whole idea that I wanted to make like dog ears that went down like all the way down to my back, but I didn't have enough yarn, honestly, because I wasted half of the yarn trying to make the hat the first time, but I couldn't see the stitches, so it came out really wonky. So I scrapped the yarn. I tried to unravel it, but because the yarn is really fuzzy, it's like a lot of knots. So I couldn't unravel it. So I had to waste a lot of yarn trying to make it the first time. So when I went back around to make this cap, there was no like yarn left to do like dog ears. But I just really wanted like a shaggy kind of hat where like, I don't know, like shaggy dogs, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted dog ears to complement the shagginess of the hat. And that was the idea I saw when I saw him in the yarn store. But hopefully I'll probably get some more yarn of this one to finish it, because I think the dog style would be cool, you know?
I don't remember the name of the movie, but no, I think it was called The Shaggy Dog with Tim Allen.
Okay.
And he turned into a dog. It was on a Disney Channel. That's what like when you said Shaggy, that immediately what popped into my head.
Yeah, that's what popped into my head when I saw it. I'm like, this is a shaggy, like this is gonna be a shaggy hat, and I was thinking the dog, and yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That's crazy. Yeah, because that's exactly what the move was.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So tell me how the hat went together with the whole ensemble. Can you describe the whole fit?
Okay, so like I said, I don't wear a lot of my crochet pieces. Like I have a cardigan and like shrugs. I don't like wearing it, and I wanted to wear something I would be comfortable in, and which is blue jeans and a tank top and my boots. So I was like, okay, I want to wear this hat today. I don't want to wear a curly hat. And I was trying to figure out what I had that kind of matched the color scheme. And I was like, I got this. So, you know, that's kind of just how it went. I had another hat. It's actually in the car. I'm like, if I don't want to wear this hat, because I don't know, it's a fresh hat. So, like, I kind of feel weird wearing it out because I just finished it. But I knew I wanted to wear the hat, but if I didn't like it, I would throw that other hat on. But I figured since I brought this cardigan, I meant this flannel. Yeah, I'm like, what is the word? Flannel. It kind of matches the purplish, so that's kind of where I went. And I wear these jeans and like boots like every day, honestly. Like this is the vibe.
It's just like these are the essentials.
Yeah, like I grew up in Houston, so everyone wore cowgirl and cowboy boots. Like that was something that happened. And everybody. Like you're in elementary, you're a little girl, you're black, like you're wearing cowgirl boots. Like it doesn't matter. Everyone's wearing it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've had a pair of cowboy boots since I was like a toddler.
Okay, so yeah. So where are you from here?
I'm from Atlanta.
Okay, yeah. So it's kind of country out here, like slightly. Like,
well, it's not what it used to be. It is definitely picked up in pace.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. It's a lot more city vibe. I always say how like Atlanta's kind of like a suburb that's like it's called a city, because like it gives suburb vibes to me. Like I don't know, I can't explain it. Yeah, like
are we talking about the city of Atlanta or just like metro
I'm talking about the city of Atlanta. It gives suburb vibes to me, and I feel like I don't know, no one says that, but for me, I've lived in a lot of major cities in my life. Like I live in LA, I live in Chicago, I've lived in Houston. And coming out here, it was very surprisingly different than I thought it would be. There's a lot to do out here, city-wise, but the way it's set up is very much like a suburb, because like everything's far away, and there's no like strongish like public transportation that I'm used to in like major cities like New York and LA and Chicago. Yeah. So that kind of threw me in for a loop. I'm like, I gotta drive how far to get to Atlanta? Like, I don't know.
I hear what you're saying, and one of the biggest things is that our public transportation isn't funded by the government.
Oh, right? Really?
No.
Whoa! Who is it funded by?
Like investors, I think. Really? I don't know who backs MARTA, but like it's not funded by the government. Oh. And you got to think about it. MARTA's been trying to expand for years.
I see.
And there are, some people, that don't want certain people in their neighborhoods.
See, that's not good. Like, there's a whole talk about Atlanta as a whole, but I like Atlanta, though. But it's interesting. The government really, like, sets it back in a lot of ways. And I'm like, whoa, this is like a suburb out here. But it's nice. It's nice.
And I think it's interesting that you mentioned that you've lived in a lot of major cities. You listed off like LA, Chicago, and you said New York?
No, I've been in New York. I never lived there. Houston, LA, and Chicago were the most major. Yeah.
Well, Houston's the South, but like, Atlanta, we're in the South, so like.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Houston, I don't remember Houston that much because I was the youngest there. But it definitely wasn't, as grandiose as obviously Chicago and LA, but I just remember I don't know. Actually, I'm like, I don't remember a lot of Houston. I don't. Like, I went to school in Houston, and then we lived close to like the suburbs, so we didn't really get on public transportation just because we just didn't do that out there. But I guess I mean more opposed to like Chicago and LA. Chicago, like I said, well, not a lot of people know this. I didn't say this yet, but Chicago has actually one of the best public transportation in America, like more than LA. A lot of people don't even know that. I'm like, Chicago, man, they be eating. Like, this is not about Chicago, but Chicago is my favorite city in America. There's something about it. It's special.
Yeah, I heard that it's the most sustainable city in
America.
Oh, really?
God damn. I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, because in the city there are green spaces, and they're on the actual high rises and stuff like that, and skyscrapers.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Pretty cool. And it's right next to freshwater lakes and stuff like that. So
yeah. That is true. You're right, because it's like a combination of like a lot of cities. Like, it's not as dusty as New York. No offense to New York. I like New York. But,
look, I've never been to New York, so I can't.
I've been in New York. I'm like, Lord.
Can't talk about New York, but.
No, New York is definitely, I want to live in New York for like 2 months. But I feel like New York just has a certain vibe to it that I couldn't like live in long term, just because like the harshness of the winter and like just the harshness of the people too. I feel like I feel like I would go crazy in there. Like the apartments being small, but like this much. Like Chicago is a fairly cheap major city. Not cheap, I don't know about affordable, because I can't speak on that. But like for me, I could move to Chicago, like city, not in the hood, but like in a decentish part, and I could afford it by myself, which is a big deal, because nobody can afford nothing by themselves no more. Like, it's so hard out here. Yeah. So I feel like right now, when I was looking at apartments for Chicago, there was a lot more apartments that I could afford, opposed to like even in Atlanta and other major cities. So not a lot of people move to Chicago, especially right now. A lot of people are leaving Chicago. So their prices are going down because nobody's there. Well, they are there, but more people are moving to Atlanta, so that's why the prices are going up. And yeah. So that's why Chicago is lower at the moment, because no one's moving to Chicago, really.
I did not know that.
I don't know why we're even talking about this.
No, wait, look, it just transitioned from one thing to the next. So what would be, what's in the pipeline, or what is next for you?
So, I know I want to keep doing fashion, but I actually want to do tattooing and baking. And that sounds random.
That is, look. Yeah. We got to start somewhere. You started off with jewelry. Now we crocheting. Yeah. Now we tattooing, you know?
Exactly. So tattooing, I've always been like big on like customization of yourself, hence fashion. So like I really like the idea of like expressing yourself in like a video game. Like I grew up playing video games, so like video games, when you get in there and you like start customizing your character, that's like a fun part. Like that's the part you look forward to. I always like that part. So I feel like fashion, that's like boom, but then tattoos takes it a step further, and you're like your whole body like is permanently customized, you know. Do you have tattoos?
I don't. Okay. I don't have any tattoos. I can't commit.
That's understandable. It's a lot to commit to, but I feel like when you take that commitment, that's just like a further customization to yourself, and piercings and all that. So I wanted to get into piercing and tattooing because I've always been interested since I was a teenager. And I met this girl, and she also did fashion. She made like harnesses and all that, and she started tattooing, like out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, like it sounds crazy, but like I've always been trying to get into tattooing. I kind of like scared myself out of it. And then seeing someone that you knew like not tattooing when you first met them, but now they're like in a studio, like it kind of like changes your mind. Like it flips perspective. Like literally, like anyone can get into anything if they like really want to. So she really inspired me to to do it, and she doesn't even know that. Honestly, she was my ex's roommate, and we barely talked, but I saw her do that, and I was like, dang, that's really cool, because we are both like into the same mediums, and I saw her get into tattooing, so it really like made me realize like, yeah, you can do it too. So I actually ended up getting a tattoo from her, and she just told me about how she got into it. Her brother tattooed, so she kind of got into it from him, and she started with stick and poke, and it was just very interesting to me. And I was like, I've always wanted a tattoo. I was a artist, like a drawing artist before anything else, as a kid, because my brother was an artist. So like I just was like, this works for me, and I always want to work for myself. That's always the goal for me.
Yeah.
Multiple streams of income. I just feel like I would rather do that, because I don't really like working for people. No one does. But like for me, I go crazy, man. Like I've had so many like different like career changes, like job changes in the past, like security, tech, all these different things, because I just cannot like stay in one kind of like job thing for too long. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Exactly.
No, 100%.
So I know with tech, it kind of gives you the flexibility to do more of what you want, because most of the jobs are remote, and if they're not remote, they kind of relocate you somewhere that you want to be. So for me, I got into tech because there was this guy who went to Singapore. I really want to go to Singapore, and his job relocated him to Singapore and like set up his housing, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
So you got the housing?
Yeah, right. So I know a lot of tech companies, they really want people to get into it, because it's like a new growing thing that's happening. So like they'll really like do things like that for people, but it's also a downside to tech too, because they lay off a lot of people. Like once something's not going well, they're like, hey, you're out of here. But
yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So I just kind of like to have free time, so I can just like experiment with a bunch of stuff. So tattooing was something I was supposed to do last year in like October. I had a mentor, but I didn't have any money at the time to like actually get the supplies. Like he offered to like get the supplies and all that. Well, he already had it, but I didn't have a car at the time either. So yeah, it was just a lot going on. So I finally am at a position where I can get the supplies and practice. And I want to do like realism. So it's gonna take a minute. I gotta study that.
I was about to ask, what is realism?
So realism is kind of like that. Like actual like images of things and like putting it on someone's body. So it's not like a traditional tattoo where it's like they like draw a design out. Realism is like they'll take that Tupac. Oh, they can't see that. No, they'll take like a photo of like something, and then they'll like do the outline over it, and then like do the outline shading and all that, and like put it on your body so it looks exactly like what you want. So if someone says, I want an exact like Gwen Stefani tattoo, like it's gonna be Gwen Stefani on your leg, So for me, I won't be doing like people, just because that's not my style. I would rather do like objects. So what started this was I saw this this tattoo of a Mylar balloon, which is a foil balloon, and my first job was Party City, so we had to fill up a lot of Mylar balloons, and I have like my secret like aesthetic is like birthday parties. I don't know what it is, but I like clowns and I like balloons. I've always liked balloons.
You lost me on clowns.
You don't like clowns?
I didn't know people did,
No, because like I like the clown makeup.
Okay.
I like the makeup, like there's so many.
That's like the worst part, but hey, that's you.
It's so fun. So I'm really into clowns and balloons. So I saw this Mylar like tattoo on someone, and the style was called like chrome tattoos, and it basically they use very like strong like dark colors, like strong black, and then like white highlights to make it look realistic, like an actual balloon was on your leg. And I was like, that looks so cool, I want that tattoo. So I started like trying to find the style, and as I was looking for it, I was like, actually I want to do this style, because initially I wanted to do a tattoo style which was just clean line work, and then that was that. But I kind of realized that I wanted to do realism because I just like the style. It seems more like, I always choose the most difficult things to do. That's something I've always gravitated to, is like the more difficult route. Same thing with the cakes. I want to do baking. So ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to have a bakery. I don't know why, because I don't eat sweets. But have you ever looked at a cake and you're like, that looks really cool? Like,
Yeah.
that's me. Like, I don't eat them, but I will, every time I go to any store, I'm going to the bakery and I'm looking at all the cakes. When I was a kid, I wanted to like be a pastry chef. I wanted to go to school, but I'm vegan, so I knew that wasn't gonna happen because I'm not about to be baking no eggs. Like, that's just me.
Yeah. Conflict.
Exactly. And I know that they're gonna have me like try the stuff. Like, I'm not doing that. So I kind of gave up on the baking idea until recently. I realized I can do it. You know, I don't know. I just feel like at this age I'm at right now, I feel like I need to start like listening to my inner child more. I feel like, because that's who was happy as hell, you know. Not to be deep, but like, them kids, man, they was happy. Like, if you had like a good or normal childhood, for the most part, children, you know, they were living pretty happy and well adjusted. You know, I had a well adjusted childhood, so like, I just think about all the things that I brought me joy as a kid, which was like baking and drawing and writing and fashion. So I'm like, you know what, I need to do that, and it has been helping me. So, you know, that's kind of what I go off now, is like, what little me want. So she wants this. Let's do it.
No, absolutely. That's awesome that you still keep that piece as you like continue on your journey, because a lot of people have shut down that inner child.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody who is not where they want to be and has kind of shut out that inner child, and like how to get to that next step?
I would say honestly, like, I feel like your kid version of you is like one of your most authentic versions of you, because it's you without like experience. As you get older, you experience things, and it kind of changes how you view things. Obviously you get older and nothing traumatic has to happen to you for you to change your mind, but I feel like as we get older, you know, we can get hurt and we can like, you know, close off. So I feel like when something happens to you that's pretty traumatic, that's when you kind of start to shut out your inner child, because you don't want any parts of that aspect of yourself for whatever reason. In my perspective, I just feel like when you think back to like what you know made you happy as a kid, and try to like, you know, like mimic that, or like kind of just like analyze why it made you happy, or what didn't make you happy as a kid even. And I feel like that could really help with your development, because as a teenager, I didn't think about myself really like that. Like, I was like trying to be somebody else, and that's the problem, where I feel like a lot of people who shut out their inner child, they like kind of in a sense try to like be something else. But like I said, I really feel like your inner child is kind of like your most authentic version of yourself. So when you're pushing that side of yourself away, there's just things that have happened to you where you feel like you don't want that part of yourself, and you'd rather be this version of yourself, because you feel like that's how you protect yourself from things that happen to you. But yeah, I just feel like definitely look into that, because when you think back about how you are as yourself, like things that do make you happy, things that don't make you happy, it's good to be selfish sometimes, you know. It's good sometimes to just like do things because you want to do it, but not like, don't be an asshole, you know. But I feel like I know people who like are still like too nervous to go by themselves to places because they want someone with them. But I'm like, you got yourself though. Like, I had to kind of go through this recently, where I had to realize that I'm always like, oh, I wish I had someone to like chill with and like listen to some good music with, and like I can be myself around. I'm like, I can do that with myself though. Like, at the end of the day, humans naturally, we do like require and like crave companionship, but a lot of things we want other people, we have in ourselves. And yeah, I might get too deep. I just know a lot of people who from a past experience that just happened last month, people will want to love someone, but like they don't even love themselves. So like they kind of like, you gotta really go deep with yourself to really be able to have healthy relationships with other people, because you don't even know what a healthy relationship looks like because you don't have one with yourself. So I feel like once you get to that point where like you have a healthy relationship, it's not gonna be perfect. No relationship with yourself or with anyone is gonna be perfect, because we are humans, we are imperfect. So I just feel like once you understand how to communicate with yourself, you will understand how to communicate with other people. When you're always not trying to think about your feelings, it's going to have a huge issue down the line, because I had the same issues. I didn't want to think about things about myself, and I was running to the same like nonsensical friendships and relationships, because it's just, I don't know how to, you know, interact with them. I don't know how to interact with myself. Yeah. So that's kind of my thing. The inner kid is your guide. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, you know, and with the people, for sure. Is there anything else you would like to leave with them, like, as we wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just feel like now I don't know what to say. I feel like just like live life how you want to live life. As a kid, I always saw people as cool, so I became the cool person, and not in like a toxic way, but I just like, I think people who, you know, play guitar are cool, so I'm learning guitar right now. I'm doing a lot of, I don't know, I just like to do things because like I live by passion, you know, and I think everyone should live by passion. So if you feel a passion for this particular thing at the moment, go for it, because that passion may not be there down the line. So that's my takeaway. I'm a crochet artist, a fashion artist, and I'm getting into tattooing and baking. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nakaia. Like, I really do appreciate you sitting down with us and learning about your journey of like how you even got started within the fashion world, right? And like branching out and just keeping that inner child alive.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me too, because I've never been like interviewed before. Like I've interviewed someone, but like to be interviewed is pretty cool. Thank you.